welcome back to the channel. So today we got the 2012 Chevy Silverado. It's got a little issue. I'm going to see if I can fix it today. Okay, here's our issue. It's got the battery light on, and over here it says service battery charging system. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to check is the battery, see what kind of shape it's in. Just need a cheap voltmeter. Okay, it's a little bit low, but it still shows as being good. So the next thing we're going to do is start it up and see if the alternator's charging. And now we'll see if the alternator's actually throwing a charge. And it is. It's charging 13.6. That's pretty much normal. Sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower. Okay, so now that we've determined the battery's good and the alternator's charging, I went through the fuse box and I checked every fuse to make sure there wasn't a burnt fuse. The reason being is these have something called a battery current sensor on it, and it's part number 13505369, and these are known to go bad. So truck's up a little high here, but anyway, here it is right here. So I'm going to put a replacement on to see if that fixes our problem. Anyway, this won't slide over the actual terminal here, so what I'm going to have to do is follow that. There's one line that goes over to the block, and then one goes underneath. I'm going to have to find out where it goes, and then I'll be able to slide it over the wires that way. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the negative terminal from the battery. Okay, so we'll run this other one up through. This doesn't come with a clip. That's all right. Plug it in. Slide that down. Okay, so now we just got to hook the ground cables back up. Okay, once you get everything hooked back up, we'll go ahead and put the battery terminal back on. That's another thing you want to check too if you're having that issue, is make sure your terminals are not all corroded. So now we'll start it up and hope that light went out. Okay, moment of truth. And the light went out. Hopefully it stays out. Okay guys, this here's probably several weeks later. I've done everything I can think of. I checked all the fuses, I checked all the grounds, I cleaned all the ground wires. And it's still got that service charging system light on. Even though the alternator is charging, it never goes above 13.6 or 7. I think it's the highest it ever goes. Even if you turn everything in the truck on, it still doesn't charge any higher than that. So we broke down and bought an alternator for it. So that's what I'm gonna try replacing now. Hopefully that'll be the problem. So before I start at it, we'll remove the ground wire here. Okay, we'll start by going on the idler, the tensioner. Loosen that, get the belt off. It's 15 millimeter. Okay, so now as far as I can tell, there's only 2 bolts holding the alternator on. And then we got some connections on the back here I got to get. So we'll just pop this cover off. Oh, I see one issue here. Looks like we got a wire disconnected. That should be a 10 millimeter. There's our problem. Okay, so here's what I ended up doing. I had to spice in a wire. I had to dig into the wiring harness to find the 2 wires, and then I spiced in a wire into the connector, and that seemed to do the trick. So an experienced mechanic would have checked this right off, but I'm a do-it-yourselfer, I checked all the ground wires and all that, but I never did lift this cover and check. If I would have noticed that right away. So if you end up having this issue, that little sensor that I replaced over here, that is a common issue according to what I found on the internet. But first thing you'll want to check is lift this cover up and check those wires, make sure there's not a break in them. Okay, as you can see, the service charging system light is off. It's been running now for 10 minutes. But how I really know it's fixed is right by here. This here is now above 14 volts, whereas before the highest it would go was like 13.6, 13.7, which I figured was a little bit on the low side, but anyways, now it's charging perfectly. I checked it with the voltmeter and it's like 14.7, 14.8. So it's right where it needs to be. No more check engine light. Finally got it fixed. I should have looked anyway. I never thought that with that engine cover on there, I didn't notice that the wires were broke off the alternator. But anyway, hope this video helps somebody out, and we'll catch you in the next one.